Okay, Mike Masato, CEO of Staff Driven Dental and the Dental Road Warrior, training for episode 83 in the series. So at this point when you're watching this, it's probably late May, closing in on Memorial Day, and hopefully most of you that are viewing this video are getting ready to open your doors and get back into practice 100% as safely and taking as much care as possible on behalf of your staff and your patients. But unfortunately, the more I see what's going on out there and the more I've been hearing, the more I'm realizing that may not be the case. And it's probably for one of two reasons, either because of no coaching, or bad coaching. And I heard a disturbing story this past week that I wanted to share with you that really got me upset. So, and I want to relay the story to you and maybe hopefully change some of your thinking about how you're going to go about doing this or how you can recover, because there is going to be some recovery necessary in order to get your practice going again the way it's supposed to and the way it can in these new times. Now, look, nothing's going to return 100% to normal as soon as we go back to practice. I would call it like the new abnormal that we're going to go back into. And all you can do is try to create as much normalcy as possible for yourself and your patients and your team going back into practice. And as I've said, the more you're okay with it, and the more your team's okay with it, the more your patients are going to be okay with it, that we're putting their mind at ease that the best thing they could possibly do will be coming into your practice, because you are the ones that are doing it properly in terms of getting yourself ready to open the doors and take care of patients in the right way. But this is what a true story what I heard this week, which I couldn't believe when I heard it. It really got me upset. And I was talking to the financing company that I work with. I work with an independent financing company similar to Care Credit. I mean, Care Credit, many of you that are watching this are familiar with. They fund your patients' financing for the dental care. But I use a company to fund my clients if they want to get funding for my services, which is a nice option for them, but let's spread it over time, make monthly payments, that kind of thing. And they have many different companies they serve as their partners, they call them, and some of them are consulting companies. I mean, several of them are. And I was talking to one of my inside contacts there, because they're about to go back to starting to finance new loans for practices. They were involved in a lot of the PPP lending, and they had kind of shut down all funding recently for new programs for my clients. And he's like, Mike, I just got to tell you, what I do every day really is I do damage control. And I'm saying, what do you mean? I'm not doing writing loans. I'm just doing damage control every day. And I say, what do you mean by that? He says, I got all these clients out here, or all these partners out there, these consulting companies that had disappeared. And I got doctors who have purchased their services, basically calling us up, upset that we're taking payments, and meanwhile they're getting no services. And I'm like, how is that possible? He says, well, a lot of these companies that are out there have just shut down. So when COVID-19 hit and practices shut down, they shut down until further notice in terms of the services they were providing for their clients, which I thought was idiotic, absurd that that's the case. I don't understand how that could possibly be the case when you're spending that kind of money on a consulting company. And I unfortunately there's a lot of bad in this industry. That this is more than ever now. A good coach, a coach that's really on purpose and really cares about you, should be there for you in these challenging times, not just when everything's going good. The true measure of a relationship is really when things are going bad, and how well people step up for you on your behalf during those times. Anybody can be with you when things are going good and going well. The true test of your relationship with your team, your partner in life, or your consulting company or your coach is, are they there for you when the chips are down? The chips are down for me too. I'm not in a great place right now. If you're hurting out there, docs, I'm hurting out here too. But you know what? That doesn't mean we stop going to work. We haven't stopped for one moment. This week will be the 9th full-on video conference training meeting that I've done for all of my clientele. I can't go on site anymore right now, so I'm doing video. We are putting accountants on the phone, lawyers on the phone, OSHA people on the phone, other colleagues and experts in the industry, just to help these doctors and staff get ready for when they go back into their practice, so they're prepared, and also to be there psychologically, emotionally for them, and needing us there to support them, in these challenging times, because they're worried and they don't want to be on their own, and creating a community of camaraderie when all the doctors are coming together and sharing their stories and helping each other out, helping them getting PPE, getting down to that nitty gritty. That's what true coaches do, because it comes from in here, it comes from the heart. It's not about, the just basically here's my information. You don't just give out information and sell information. You want to get a result. And the only way you're going to get a result is to be there as a human being for people and truly care about them and really have their best interest at heart at all times. And that's what it's infurious to me, that there are actually companies that are doing this right now that are out there, right? So if you're attached to one of those companies, get out of your contract right away and go somewhere else and go with somebody that cares. That's the first step, all right? And the other step would be, the other problem is it's just bad coaching. First, forget no coaching. There's some companies, and this was this inside doctor rep was telling me, there's some companies that they call up complaining about their loan because the consultant told them point blank, when they spoke to the consultant, look, the best thing you can do right now is not talk to your patients. This was coaching advice, right, that a consultant gave to a dentist, which again, asinine. If I wish I knew who this consultant was, I would call him up personally and tell him you're an idiot, all right, and a moron, for that's the way that you are guiding or misguiding your clientele. The best thing you can do right now, and as all my clients are, is to be in touch with your patients. Patients need to know you are there for them, that you still care, and you're wanting them back, and you're getting ready for them, and you're creating an environment that's going to be safe for them when they come into the practice, and that dentistry is important, and that we are essential, and that never stopped being essential. Just because government agencies said so, you're not essential right now, or the governor said, or whatever, you've always been essential. That never stopped. Matter of fact, by around May 26th, I guess in my state, I'm in New Jersey right now, it's going to be all chains are going to be off. Well, doctors are going to be able to do anything here in the state of New Jersey, which they should be, because all of it was all to discretion anyway, the doctors, to make the best case decisions for your patients. Because if you truly are in this healthcare profession for the right reasons, you don't flip a switch and get to choose, under the best conditions of when I get to treat my patients. It wasn't, there's been plenty of times on a day-to-day basis that we went to work and it wasn't the best conditions, in terms of what was going on, economically or in health-wise in the community and whatever. There have been many times we've gone through this before, whether it was H1N1, whether it was the AIDS epidemic, HIV, there's been times, we went in the office and we just took care of patients because, that's what we needed to do. And it's amazing to me how many of my doctors that have remained connected to their patients right now are actually thriving. You know why they're thriving? Is because they are providing a place, a safe environment for patients to go. All these patients have been really abandoned by their doctors. That they were coming in 10, 20, 30 new patients a month to these doctors who were seeing emergencies because they're there. Because their doctors aren't even seeing emergencies. They're not even being accessible for them. We're talking about them, talking them in not to come into the practice. They're doing quote unquote telemedicine. Yeah, prescribing medications over the internet is really not doing your job as a healthcare provider 100%, especially when it comes to dentistry. It's not all about giving medication. A lot of these people need to be seen. They need to be seen now, right? And they weren't being seen, so they're getting all these new patients coming into the practice right now. And guess what's happening? When they're coming into the doctor's practice for these emergency care, they're realizing, hey, wow, what a great practice. This is the way dentistry should be. My dentist never took care of me or gave me this kind of attention. Oh, wow, look how nice these staff are. Look how dedicated they are during these times, okay? And guess what? They're going to stay there now. And they're leaving the practices that aren't like that, right? But it was just about, giving out dentistry and doing dentistry for people under the best of conditions, for whatever reason, right? So these are the doctors right now that are doing well. That stay connected, they've stayed in communication with their patients, they're communicating constantly, they're making videos, welcome back videos with orientation of what to expect when they come in, right? They have great communication avenues with their team are well trained, the teams are doing dry runs, they're walking through step by step the procedures for when patients call up and inviting them back into the office. They're getting ready with staggering patients and spacing them out and hygiene, and when we're getting ready for when that's going to kick in. It's amazing how that just went out the window. There's this fervor going on that I read about hygienists, that are out there, worried about coming into the practice. Look, if you work for a dentist, you have to worry about going to your practice, right now, then you're in the wrong dentist, if that's the case. Either that, or you just checked out, philosophically in what you do. Maybe it's time to retire. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be controversial here. You don't have to watch if that's the case. But the truth of the matter is, there are tons of hygienists out there that truly believe that keeping teeth in people's heads is important. That the quality of, maintaining and caring for the oral health of people and their gums, and the systemic effect they can have on people's body if they don't is important. Of course, we don't want to invite hygienists in and create a dangerous environment. right? But if you got hygienists out there that are pushing, and giving you a hard time, or any staff for that matter, telling you, I don't want to come in out of fear, or I don't want to come in and this XYZ, or my attorney said this and that and whatever, you really need to reassess what you got going on right now, all right? Because you know what, if it's not this, it could be something else in the future, all right? So, I want people there that are truly committed in my practice, if I was a doctor, for the care and health and really the purpose of what dentistry is all about, and caring for others and caring for me, right? And caring for each other. That's what it's all about, right? People, look, you feel you can't work anymore, you don't want to work anymore, that's your choice. That's great, but it's going to be also the doctor's choice to determine, whether or not we want you back into practice. They're not obligated, and believe me, my clients are bending over backwards to make sure they're bringing back all their staff, as many as possible. And believe me, they want to bring them back. They're getting more resistance on the other end. They're trying to give them money they got from the government and this PPP money, and they still won't, take it. They're resisting coming back for whatever. And a lot of this has to do with fear, and a lot of it's irrational fear, right? And that's why communication is so important. And some of the doctors that I work with, the best thing they did is get back in communication with a lot of these people, and allay some of their fears, let them know what's going on. They're feeling a lot better, about going back into the practice now as we come out of this whole thing. So the biggest mistake, getting bad and no coaching, is not acceptable in these times. And if you need coaching, go out and seek something out. Don't try to go this alone in these times. Dentistry is challenging enough as a profession on its own. Because again, the business part of dentistry, something we were never taught in the first place. Now the business part of dentistry just got that much harder. Get someone out there that really has a passion and cares for what you do, right? It can be me. I'd love to have you. Call me. There's a link to this. You can find me real easy. I'll be more than happy to speak to you. It's out there. Go read my reviews online. I'm not trying to pat myself on the shoulder, but they're very impressive. I didn't tell those people to write those things. I'm just amazed what I read. That's the way it should be. That's the kind of relationship that I always hope that I'll always have with my clients for almost 25 years of doing this. And that's not going to change. And that's because I have people that work for me, coaches that work for me, that are passionately committed and dedicated to the well-being of my clients, not just their financial well-being. All right, not just for them to help the practice make money, and run better, but the overall big picture of quality of life and happiness and fulfillment, great having in a great mental state. There's a lot to be said about that, right? And I know this video went a little longer than I expected today. I didn't expect it was going to go this long, but I guess I had to get that off my chest because I said before, a lot of you are out there are hearing this kind of stuff from your colleagues who are commiserating, and reading this kind of stuff out there and believing it. That there's nowhere else something else could possibly be happening. Well, in my universe, with my clients and what I do, everyone, they're all going to be fine. They're all going to come through this. You know why? Because there hasn't been a day that stopped. They had not stopped being committed, to their practice and their patients and their team from the minute this thing hit. Okay? And they hadn't stopped getting coaching, and they banded together, and they're doing the right thing, and they're going to be ready in the near this week coming up, or the very near future, come June, to go back there and do what they were taught to do, and what they got into doing this for, right? And this is an opportunity for those that are listening to this, that are my clients or not my clients, for you to capitalize. There's always opportunity in these calamities, right? There's going to be a huge vacuum left by dentists and practices that are not going to make it through this time. That's a time for you to go out and seek out those practices and help those lost souls that are going to be abandoned, those patients that have no great dental practice to go to right now, and go find those guys, those people, those practices, and go buy them out. Take them over and take their patients, make them an offer they can't refuse, and get them on board with your practice, right? Because they're going to need a place to go, and they might as well go someplace. That's the best place for them, which is probably your practice if you believe what I'm saying and you're committed, truly committed to dentistry like I am. When I talk about this kind of stuff, right? So I said, hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you are watching them, please feel free to share them with a colleague, help them get them inspired, help them get back on the right track. And I look forward to being back with another one soon.